What are you gonna serve for 4th of July? Well, for my 4th of July or Rancho Compassion's hoedown, I always make these UnRibs. Now this recipe is based on a product that I used to have when I had a company called Now and Zen, and we had the zesty UnRibs, or barbecue UnRibs I think they were called, and they were a fan favorite. We got lots of recipe requests for that, and so eventually 2 decades later I decided to include that recipe in my book, The Homemade Vegan Pantry. So these UnRibs are so juicy, they're so succulent, they're full of this amazing complex flavors from all of the different ingredients that go into the barbecue sauce. A barbecue sauce that's not too sweet or one note, as I find so many barbecue sauces. This one hits all the notes. It's the garlic, it's the chipotle, it's the smoke, it's the depth, it's the not overly sweet, but just sweet enough barbecue sauce that I think is absolutely perfect. You can serve these to anybody. I swear they will love them. I hope you give these a try this 4th of July. So we're gonna start out with the Vital Wheat gluten, which is done in the food processor. You can do it by hand as well, mixing ingredients by hand. I like to do it in the food processor. It makes it a lot easier. So we're gonna get started. First, we're gonna put in the flavoring ingredients. So I need a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about a 1/4 cup, don't you think? A little bit more for good measure? Okay. I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and about 2 tablespoons of smooth peanut butter. Don't use chunky, otherwise you're gonna have little chunks of peanuts, and you don't want it to taste like peanuts. You want the peanut butter to just give it that sort of richness and umami. That's what we're putting this in here for. We're also gonna add a little bit of miso, so about a tablespoon or so of miso. You can use red miso, white miso, chickpea miso, whatever you have lying around should be just fine. I'm gonna add 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. Finally, I'm gonna add 1 1/4 cups of water, and we are going to let this thing whir. All right, now we're gonna start adding the Vital Wheat gluten. And the quantity of gluten we're gonna add depends on how chewy or tender do you like your ribs. If you want them tender, use the lower amount. If you want them to be chewy, you can use the higher amount. So we're gonna use somewhere between 2½ and 3 cups of Vital Wheat gluten. I'm gonna start out with about 2 cups. And we're just gonna whir that first, and then we'll add more. All right, it's already getting stretchy. I'm gonna add another 1/2 cup. It's broken up into little pieces, but it's sinewy and it sticks together. I think this is good. I don't like my ribs super chewy. I want chew, but I also want them to be tender. So I did probably a little bit more than 2½ cups. So now I'm gonna roll this into a log about 6 inches. And if you think, you know what, I want it a little bit chewier, if you add a little bit more gluten at the end, and the water absorption is different, you're actually gonna get more layers of texture. So that's not the end of the world either. If you feel like your dough is too wet, you can just roll some more into it with your hands. So I'm gonna roll this out. We're gonna cut this into 4 and turn them into kind of a steak. Oh, it's chewy. We're gonna flatten this out as much as we can. I think that final amount I added on the board might make these chewier than tender, which isn't the end of the world. And you want to get these into 4 sort of round or rectangular, basically 4 steaks. The cooking method is what makes these so special. We're going to first of all saute these until they're browned on both sides, and then bake them in the oven with barbecue sauce. Here is where you have to make a big decision. If you want them to be greasy ribs, you add more oil. If you want them to be just light, but still full of that barbecue flavor, just use a minimal amount of oil, just enough to keep them from sticking. All right, this is a cast iron pan, so I want to spend 3 or 4 minutes heating up the pan before I add any oil. And once they're baked, I'm going to be sauteing them again. And I can add more oil at that point if I want. Get that oil hot. I want to hear that sizzle. Can't be impatient. All right, this doesn't look like a lot. This is gonna puff up in here. And once I bake them in the oven, they're gonna expand even more. All right, they're puffing up as you can see. Yes, I know, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Oh, I got something burning. Hold on, I gotta go check the stove. Whew, just a little charred, but not the end of the world. I turned the heat off just in the nick of time. That's what happens when you got goats around. That's it. I love you. I love you, little boy. I got to go back to work. I would love it if you came in here. We don't have goat diapers big enough for you. Okay, so one of the keys for these great ribs and why they're so good is the Zippy barbecue sauce. And that's what the ribs are going to get baked in. So much of the commercial stuff is just so sweet. I just can't handle it. So I like to make my own. It's Zippy. People love it. It's great on the ribs, and we're gonna start out with 2 cans of tomato paste. So these are 6-ounce cans, so 12 ounces of tomato paste. It comes together in just minutes. All you're doing is combining everything and then stirring it. And it's a complex barbecue sauce. It's a little sweet. It's got a little bit of smoke flavor, a little bit of heat. It's got everything going on. It's really good. All right, so I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of maple syrup. You can add organic sugar. This is a novel concept for me using a measuring utensil. I'm gonna add a 1/3 cup of soy sauce. So I'm gonna just use the 1/2 cup measure and just not fill it up all the way. That's probably about a 1/3 cup. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. About a teaspoon of liquid smoke, a 1/2 teaspoon, whichever you like. I'm gonna add some molasses also, about 2 tablespoons, a tablespoon of smoked paprika. You can add spicy smoked paprika if you like, about 2 teaspoons of cumin. That's about 2 teaspoons, maybe a little more, about 2 tablespoons of chili powder. And we're gonna add 2 more ingredients. Chipotle peppers in adobo sauce, so about 2 of these. You're gonna chop this up. These are spicy, they are smoky, they're just wonderful. And the very final ingredient, garlic. You can add as much or as little as you like. I highly recommend at least 6 good-sized cloves. I'm gonna chop all of this up. You can use a garlic press if you like, if you don't wanna mince. And if you want it really, really smooth, you can run this through your blender. Now, if I'm making a large quantity of this, let's say 150, like I did last year at the Hoedown, you know, I will definitely make the barbecue sauce in a blender, so I'm not doing any chopping at all. I just throw everything in there and I just puree it. All right, I'm gonna stir all of this up. Oh my God, I can smell it. I can smell that good smoky, spicy aroma. Oh my God, that's gonna be so delicious. Now we're ready to bake these. We're gonna smother these in a diluted barbecue sauce, and it's gonna go in the oven. It's gonna absorb all the flavors from this zesty barbecue sauce, but we have to dilute it. It's too thick. So we're gonna take a 1.5 cups of this Zippy barbecue sauce, and we're gonna add 2 cups of water to thin it out. Kind of make a barbecue sauce broth is what we're doing here. Maybe I should have gotten a slightly bigger bowl. So at this point, it's really more of a broth than barbecue sauce. It's gonna thicken up, it's gonna get absorbed by these steaks. Now, you notice I used a cast iron pan because I'm gonna actually put this in the oven. If you use non-oven proof skillet for this, you're gonna have to transfer these steaks into an oven proof dish before you bake it. All right, I'm gonna cover this with aluminum foil, and it's gonna go in the oven for 75 to 90 minutes. Ooh, there's a llama up there. That's Priscilla. All right, these just came out of the oven. They're piping hot. As you can see, that barbecue broth, as I called it, it's been absorbed. These are big old fat steaks now, as you can see. You can see the little holes inside. That means they are cooked. I'm gonna slice these up, and then we're gonna char them in the pan. Let me get my pan heated. They're back in the pan here because the gluten has not completely cooked. It's a little too stretchy, which means that the gluten has not fully hydrolyzed. So I'm gonna put them back in the oven, but I'm gonna actually cut these. I pulled them out at about 70 minutes, and they do take, a good hour and a half or so. So I'm gonna put a little bit more water in here, and they're gonna go back in the oven until they're fully cooked. So now I've sort of remade that barbecue broth. Don't rush. You can just sit in the oven for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can go do something else. Let me get them back in the oven. I rebaked these just to make sure that the seitan was cooked, and now we're ready to crispen these or blacken them, char them. That's what we're gonna do now. All right, let's get the pan hot, get some oil in there. You can choose whether to use a lot of oil and get some greasy ribs, or whether you just want a little bit of oil and keep them relatively low in fat. So it's up to you what you want to do. And I want these black. I really, really do. Waiting for the oil to get hot. Oh yes, I want that char on there. Makes them so good. Look at that. You see that color? That's what I'm looking for. Don't be afraid of that blackness. That's what we want. We want that char. They're delicious like this. And then we're going to coat them one more time in barbecue sauce. Just a couple of minutes and they'll all be ready. Look at those blackened ribs. Now we're going to coat them in the rest of the Zippy barbecue sauce, and then they are ready to serve. They're delicious cold or at room temperature as well. You can reheat them. You can put them on the grill. You can reheat them in the oven. Oh my God, look at those blackened ribs. Don't they look delicious? Okay, finally done. This one took a long time. I usually make 2 or 3 batches because people just gobble them up. I made these for 150 people last year for the hoedown, and people were packing them in their bags and taking them home. So they're so good, and I'm going to serve these tomorrow to a group of friends coming over. But I'm going to just I found myself a little bite. I'm just going to sneak myself one bite because I can't wait until tomorrow. Got umami. It's that barbecue sauce. It's the chew of the seitan. Oh my God. These ribs are to die for. Give them a try on 4th of July. And thanks again for watching The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. We'll see you again next time. Hi, Reg. Hi, handsome. Hello, boyfriend goat. This is the goat. This is the boy that saved my life one time. Yes, you did. You are my boyfriend goat, and I love you. Yes, I do. Oh, yes. You're a good kisser, too. Well, right now I just want to eat apples, but sometimes you give me kisses and I love it. Yes, I do. Oh, what a good boy.